So I'm going to be studying this in the earlier cities is an NCRT topic that I'm going to be covering today. I am a next topper student who just got bad rank. Now I have to study everything from the beginning again and possibly get good marks. I'm going to start studying. Peace. I'm going to read it out loud for you guys. You guys probably don't need to study by looking at the books if you guys have a thing called eye fuzziness. So I'm gonna read chapter 3 in the earlier cities. Saving an old building. Jaspel and Harpreet were playing cricket in the lane outside their home when they noticed people who were admiring the dilapidated old building that the children called the haunted house. Look at the architecture, said one of the men. Have you seen the fine wood carving? Asked one of the women. We must write to the minister so that she makes arrangements to repair and preserve this beautiful house. Why, they wondered. Would anybody be interested in the old rundown house? The story of Harappa. Very often, all buildings have a story to tell. Nearly 150 years ago, when railway lines were being laid down for the first time in Punjab, engineers stumbled upon the site of Harappa in present-day Pakistan. To them, it seemed like a present mound that was a rich source of ready-made, high-quality bricks. So they carried off thousands of bricks from the walls of the old buildings of the city to build railway lines. Many buildings were completely destroyed. Then, about 80 years ago, archaeologists found the site and realized that this was one of the oldest cities in the subcontinent. As this was the first city to be discovered, all of the other sites from where similar buildings and other things were found were described as Harappan. These cities were developed about 4,700 years ago. What was special about these cities? Many of these cities were divided into two or more parts. Usually the part to the west was smaller but higher. Archaeologists describe this as the citadel. Generally the part to the east was larger but lower. This is called the lower town. Very often walls of baked brick were built around each part. The bricks were so well baked that they have lasted for thousands of years. That the bricks were laid in an interlocking pattern and that made the wall strong. In some cities, special buildings were constructed on the citadel. For example, in Mohenjo-daro, a very special tank, which archaeologists call the Great Bath, was built in this area. This was laid with bricks, coated with plaster, and made watertight with a layer of natural tar. There were steps leading down to it from two sides. Well, there were rooms on all sides. Water was probably brought in from a well and drained out after use. Perhaps important people took a dip in this tank on special occasions. Other cities such as Kalibangan and Lothal had fire altars where sacrifices may have been performed. And some cities like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and Lothal had elaborate storehouses. Now I'm gonna read the subcategory, okay? I'm gonna read the subcategory of these things. There's a special note here by the NCRT textbook that I'm gonna read now. So these cities were found in Punjab and Sindh in Pakistan, and in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana, and Punjab in India. So archaeologists have found a set of unique objects in almost all these cities. Red pottery painted with designs in black, stone weights, seals, special beads, copper tools, and parallel side long stone blades. Houses, drains, and streets. Generally, houses were either one or two stories high, with rooms built around the courtyard. Most houses had a separate bathing area, and some had wells to supply water. Many of these cities had covered drains, which notice how carefully these were laid out in straight lines. Although you cannot see it, each drain had a gentle slope so that water could flow through it. Sorry for the interruption. Uh, They may have kept the most valued objects such as ornaments of gold and silver. Oh, I not read this right. Yes, of course. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna come back to houses, drains, and streets. I'm sorry for skipping it. I know it's one of my mistake, but I'm gonna do it. Houses, drains, and streets. Generally, houses were either 1 or 2 stories high, with rooms built around a courtyard. Houses had a separate most houses had a separate bathing area, and some had wells to supply water. Many of the cities had covered drains. Notice how carefully these were laid out. In straight lines, although you cannot see it, each drain had a gentle slope so that water could flow through it. Very often, drains in houses were connected to those on the streets, and smaller drains led into bigger ones. As the drains were covered, inspection holes were provided at intervals to clean them. All three houses, drains, and streets were probably planned and built at the same time. Life in the Harappan city. Harappan city was a very busy place. There were people who planned the construction of special buildings in the city. These were probably the rulers. It is likely that the rulers sent people to distant lands to get metal, precious stones, and other things that they wanted. They may have kept the most valuable objects such as ornaments of gold and silver or beautiful beads for themselves. And there were scribes, people who knew how to write, who helped prepare the seals and perhaps wrote on other materials that have not survived. Besides, there were men and women, craftspersons making all kinds of things either in their own homes or in special workshops. People were traveling to distant lands or returning with raw materials and perhaps stories. Many terracotta toys have been found and children must have played with these. Now I'm going to read the note again and just listen, okay? Top, a street in Mohenjo-daro with a drain above a well. So we are currently describing the streets of Mohenjo-daro, okay? This is like a Harappan city archaeological survived place, okay? It is an archaeological discovery which was discovered by archaeologists and is part of the Harappan civilization, I believe. Okay, far left, a Harappan seal. The signs on the top of the seal are part of a script. This is the earliest form of writing known on the subcontinent. Scholars have tried to read these signs, but we still do not know exactly what they mean. Left, terracotta toys. Here's the diagram. The pages will be inverted, so left, right, la. So I can't provide a deep insight, but you can see these diagrams, very interesting diagrams, and we are trying to decipher what it means. So soon in the future we may find out what these mean. So I'm going to flip a page and I'm going to read. New crafts in the city. Let us look at some of the objects that were made and found in Harappan cities. Most of these that have been found by archaeologists are made of stone, shell and metal, including copper, bronze, gold and silver. Copper and bronze were used to make tools, weapons, ornaments and vessels. Gold and silver were used to make ornaments and vessels. Perhaps the most striking finds are those of beads, weights and blades. The Harappans also made the Harappans also made seals out of stone. These are generally rectangular. Illustration on page number 25, and I'll show you the illustration now. Here's the images once again. See carefully. Maybe you can see them. Terracotta toys and seals and symbols. Can you see them? Yes. Okay. Was metal used in the villages? You learned about in chapter 2. Blah blah blah. You don't need to know that. Cotton was probably grown at Meghar from about 7,000 years ago. Actual pieces of cloth were found attached to the lid of a silver vase and some copper objects at Mohenjo-daro. Archaeologists have also found spindle balls made of terracotta and faience. These were used to spin thread. Many of the things that were produced were probably the work of specialists. A specialist is a person. Specialist is a person who's trained to do only one kind of work. So it's a definition that we have to note down, guys. So a specialist is a person who is trained to do only one kind of work. So what is a specialist? A specialist is a person who is trained to do only one kind of work. And for some examples, cutting stones, cutting trees, making terracotta toys, making cricket bats, etc., etc. And see how well they face. And I'll show you one example of a architectural design card by a specialist. And the specialist means like a person like specialist thousands of years ago or something like that. It's an old one, and this is probably 7,000, 4,000 years ago or something. This wonderful Moa looking diagram, as you see. I mean not diagram, I mean picture. Sorry for my bad English. Okay. Not everybody could have been a specialist. They do not know whether only men were specialists or only women were specialists. Perhaps some women and men may have been specialists. So we have to note that down, because it may come for us in MCQs or for me in MCQs. So I have to write it down. Okay, now I'll go in search of raw materials. Raw materials are substances that are either found naturally, such as wood or ores or metals, or produced by farmers or herders. These are then processed to produce finished goods. For example, cotton produced by farmers is a raw material that may be processed to make cloth. While some of the raw materials that the Harappans used were available locally, many items such as copper, tin, gold, silver and precious stones had to be brought from distant places. The Harappans probably got copper from present-day Rajasthan and even from Oman in West Asia. Tin, which was mixed with copper to produce bronze, may have been brought from present-day Afghanistan and Iran. Gold could have come all the way from present-day Karnataka, and precious stones from present-day Gujarat, Iran and Afghanistan. So we have to underline that also down, because that will come, and I'm pretty sure that will come in MCQs. So note that down, guys. Note that down. And this is the 6th grade NCERT social history book that I'm gonna read now, okay? And I'm also gonna read maybe other stuff, but we'll come to that later. Okay, so I'm gonna read it once again and slowly for me and also you to understand what I'm saying. The Harappans probably got copper from present-day Rajasthan and even from Oman in West Asia. Tin, which was mixed with copper to produce bronze, may have been brought from present-day Afghanistan and Iran. And Afghanistan and Iran both are a bit dangerous countries, if you don't know world history. Gold could have come all the way from present-day Karnataka and precious stones from present-day Gujarat, Iran and Afghanistan. Food for people in the cities. While many people lived in the cities, others living in the countryside grew crops and reared animals. We know from remains of plants that the Harappans grew wheat, barley, pulses, peas, rice, sesame, linseed and mustard. A new tool, the plough, was used to dig the earth for turning the soil and planting the seeds. While real ploughs which were probably made up of wood have not survived, toy models have been found. As this region does not receive heavy rainfall, some form of irrigation may have been used. This means that water was stored and supplied to the fields when the plants were growing. The Harappans reared cattle, sheep, goat and buffalo. Water and pastures were available around settlements. However, in the dry summer months, large herds of animals were probably taken to greater distances in search of grass and water. They also collected fruits like bear, caught fish and hunted wild animals like the antelope. A closer look into Harappan towns in Gujarat. So we are going to take a look at Harappan towns in Gujarat, guys, so just stay focused. So if you just can't keep up, means just pause the video, take some break or something. take a 1 minute break, I suggest. Okay, and just come back. Just come back to this video. Okay. So the city of Dholavira was located on Khadir Beit, also spelled as Bith, in the Ran of Kuch, where there was a fresh water and fertile soil, unlike some of the other Harappan cities, which were divided into two parts. Dholavira was divided into three parts, and each part was surrounded with massive stone walls with entrances through gateways. There was also a large open area in the settlement where public ceremonies will be held. Other finds include large letters of Harappan script that were carved out of white stone and perhaps that inlaid in wood. This is a unique find as generally Harappan writing has been found on small objects such as seals. The city of Lothal stood beside a tributary of the Sabarmati in Gujarat, close to the Gulf of Khambat. It was situated near areas where raw materials such as semi-precious stones were easily available. This was an important center for making objects out of stone, shell and metal. There was also a storehouse in the city. Many seals and sealings, the impression of seals on clay, were found in this storehouse. So I'm going to read the additional note for page number 28 and page number 29 of the NCERT 6th grade course material history in India. Okay, NCERT national something of India. Okay, we have not been taught that in school. So NCERT, if you are seeing this video, please teach us about what you are, and also earlier, please NCERT, please. So I'm gonna be reading from the small note from page number 28 first. How were goods carried from one place to another? Look at the illustrations. One shows a toy. So look at the illustrations. These are very important illustrations to remember. This is an illustration. This is an illustration. I call illustration number 1, illustration number 2, and illustration number 3. These are probably farming tools, I believe. This one is at least a farming tool, and this is wooden carvings, and this one is a toy. Okay, so I'm gonna be reading the page number Indian. A dockyard at Lothal. This huge tank may have been a dockyard where boats and ships came in from the sea and through the river channel. Goods are probably loaded and unloaded here. Read that, and this one too. A building that was found here was probably a workshop for making beads. Pieces of stone, half-made beads, tools for bead making, and finished beads that have all been found here. Seals and sealings. Seals may have been used to stamp bags or packets containing goods that were sent from one place to another. After a bag was closed or tied, a layer of wet clay was applied on the knot, and the seal was pressed on it. The impression of the seal is known as a sealing. If the sealing was intact, one could be sure that the goods had arrived safely. Seals are used today, even today. Find out what they are used for. So, guys, just find the answer for seals are used even today. Find out what they are used for. That's the question, and tell me the answer in the comments. Okay. Here's the diagram. This is a seal. Can you see? And not that seal you're thinking of. That seal is the polar region. This seal, stamp-like stuff. So I'm going to be saying the mystery of the end. Around 3,100 years ago, we find the beginning of major change. People started living in many of the cities. Writing, seals, and weights were no longer used. Raw material from long distance became rare. In Mohenjo-daro, we find that garbage piled up on the streets. The drainage system broke down, and new, less impressive houses were built even over the streets. Where did all this happen? We are not sure. So they're saying that this could have happened either because of change, and that things have all been flooded or something, and also could have been natural disasters, for example earthquakes and floods and tornadoes, etc. So now I'm gonna be listing some keywords from this chapter that if you don't know, I will be listing in the comments below. Okay, I'll be spelling the first word city, second word citadel, third word scribe, fourth word craftsperson, metal, seal, specialist, raw material, plow, irrigation. So spelling of city is C-I-T-Y. City. Citadel. C-I-T-A-D-E-L. Scribe. S-C-R-I-B-E. Craftsperson. C-R-A-F-T-S-P-E-R-S-O-N. Metal. M-E-T-A-L. S-E-N. Seal. S-E-A-L. And specialist. S-P-E-C-I-A-L-I-E-S-T. Raw materials. R-A-W-M-A-T-E-R-I-A-L-S. Plow. P-L-O-U-G-H. Irrigation. I-R-R-I-G-A-T-I-O-N. Okay, so that's it, the video, guys. I hope you understood what I read, and if not, just suggest me some tips. I am also a learner just like you, so you'll be free to suggest some tips. And that's it. See you tomorrow.